Okay. In the previous class, we are looking at half field networks, and a half field network is governed by the equation xi dot is equal to minus ai xi plus wji is delta j of xj from j equal to 1 to n. That is, there are n neurons. That's why it is 1 to n plus ia. There is an external input. So you are seeing the signal function and inverse of this function, and we concluded that it represents a high dimensional cross coupled network, which is generally very difficult to make it to converge to a particular point. And one more thing, in original half field network, the weight WII is equal set to 0. It is, no neuron will feed to itself. There is I to I, J to J, and 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. All of them are stopped. The remaining values are only used in the network. Okay. And the model under construction has Cohen-Grossberg form. Okay, this form is a specific form which uses Wij is equal to Wji, or W12 is equal to W21. That is, weights assigned from 1 to 2 is same as weight assigned from 2 to 1. Wi by I2 is equal to W2I. So with this restriction, this model is built. Once, let us say, this model is built, how actually we are going to interpret this one in terms of electronic circuits. Consider this circuit. I1, I2, I3, IN are the input currents. They are, except I1, all of them are fed once again at the output. We consider this I1, I2, I3, all of them at the output section. There is a capacitor, leakage capacitor, and there is an R1 resistance. X1 is an input voltage, and this 1, 2, 3, all those things, J, N, all of them corresponds to amplifier, and X1, X2, X3, Xj, Xn, all of them are voltages, and S1 of X1 is your output. Similarly, Sj of Xj and Sn of X1, and at the output you have resistance R1j, R2j, Rnj, so on so forth, which will aid the feeding back of current from input side to output side. Okay, how we can model this Cohenberg, this network, whatever half field network, in terms of electronic equipments? See here, let us consider the ith input output amplifier voltages xi and delta I of xj. Let us consider this only. So this particular section I'll consider. Okay, in this particular section, whatever I have is the KCL equation at the input node of the ith amplifier is written as, what is the equation which you can write at the input side of the network? That is, I is equal to, let us say, KCL, I is equal to C dV by dt. Correct? Current through the capacitor is proportional to rate of change of voltage across the capacitor. Therefore, this one Cj dxj by dt, or Ci into xi dot. So any I equal to 1 to n. Okay, Ci xi dot. Current through a capacitor is directly proportional to rate of change of voltage across the capacitor, plus this is one current through the capacitor to the amplifier. There's another current is voltage divided by resistance, that is x1 by r1, that is the second current written. These two are the incoming current through the network, that is equal to all the currents. This is for all of them. Summation I is equal to 1 to q. There are many such, j is equal to 1 to n, means there are n networks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on up to n networks. And what is the output current? One current is fed from the input side to output side, that I'll take it as II. This current which I written at the last part. What is the remaining current? Remaining current is voltage at this point, delta J of Xj minus Xj voltage at the input divided by Rj, R1j, Rji. Let us take for a particular value of I, then it is directly dependent on Rji. Are you able to follow this equation? Or any doubt you have? Yeah, Utsal? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So we are writing KCL equation at the input side and output side, and we are equating input current to the network comprises of two parts, and this part current to the capacitor and current to the resistor. Output current depends on the voltage difference between their points, and one more current that is fed back from the input side. Okay, this is your electronic circuit equipment. Let us see how we can simplify. Send Xi by Ri this side and divide by Ci. So it will become minus Xi by Ri into Ci. Look at this component. Minus Xi by Ri into Ci plus summation j equal to 1 to n. This summation 1 by Rji, 1 by Rji I written as it is, plus 1 by Ci into summation j equal to 1 by 1 to n delta of xj by rji. This itself I am dividing by cj, and what remains finally is ii by ci. Okay, look here, first term is taken care here, and this term is because of this one. So xi by ri is already present here. Xi by ri into ci is because of this term, and one is delta xj. This is the first term, and remaining term is ii by ci. Okay, so yes, ii by ci, because it is not ii is a single term and divided by ci. Now what I will do, I'll take xi by ci as it is, name entire this value as 1 by ri plus summation j equal to 1 to n of rji, this entire term, total term, as 1 by ri, and remaining whatever I have is ii by ci, this last term, plus delta j of xj by rji into ci. I'll take the ci inside the summation only because ci is anyway constant. It is not varying with respect to j. It can either is outside or inside, it will not make any difference. So I got a final equation in this format. Okay, so xi is nothing but rate of change of voltage. Have you followed this one? Simplification? Any doubt here? Any doubt?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now this one, okay, this half field model has a Cohen-Grossberg form. This is a Cohen-Grossberg form is a particular form in which these kinds of attractive neural networks are written. So this is given by any xi dot, just like the previous one, ai xi into the bracket bi of xi minus summation j equal to 1 to n cji into dj of xj. This is very similar to the previous one. Look at xj and this form, these two, if you take ei of xi is equal to 1, then I can write bi of xi is equal to minus xi by rici, and this summation is as it is, cij dij xi will form this value. Okay, so you already know that as I indicated in the previous discussion, if you roll a ball over a Lyapunov surface, Lyapunov surface is a sinusoidally varying surface, the ball will settle down to a local minimum. So how do you identify the local minimum? Local minimum, and also how do you say that network is stable? The network stability is given by a Lyapunov's function. This Lyapunov's function is given by this expression. Okay, so what I will do is, so you need not to remember all the expressions, but finally what we are looking at is xi dot equal to a into xi plus ii plus wji into delta j of xj, j equal to 1 to n. This is a total format of the function, which is a half field function. A half field function is usually used to train or map the input source functions from destination functions. So in this one, look here, I used ai xi is equal to 1 and bi of xi is equal to minus ai xi plus ii. Look at this mapping. This one, xi dot is mapped to xi dot. ai of xi is into 1. This is 1 here. Therefore, a of xi is mapped to 1. This bi of xi is nothing but a minus ai xi plus ii. And next, cji is equal to minus wji. See here, this is plus and this is minus. Therefore, written minus ji, and di of xj is written as delta j of xj, or you can say delta j only. So by putting all these things in an equation, this previous equation, I'll write minus 1 by 2. Look at the second part of the equation, minus 1 by 2, j is equal to 1 to n, k is equal to 1 to n. Okay, look, Cji is equal to minus Wji. So Cjk will become minus Wjk. That's why there is a minus symbol. Instead of plus, I got minus. And dj of xj is written as sj from this one, and this one is written as sk. So this function, so entire this function, whatever I have written, is rewritten in this format. Plus ai by lambda I, okay, into this integral from 0 to si delta inverse of beta I into d beta I minus ii into si. This is minus ax xi into ii. This is written in this format. Okay. So once you write it, these are various mathematical simplification which are directly taken. We are not going to prove this equation directly. So you simply write the final equation in this format. Now, how you say that whatever network we have designed is stable? So to say that it is stable, I'm going to evaluate the derivative. E dot is nothing but dou E by dou Si into Si dot. So this will simply result in E dot is equal to minus Wji into Sj. I'll show you actually, minus Wji into Sj. See here how you got is, yes, if you put j is equal to k at one particular point, it will become s square. Derivative of s square will become 2s. 2 will get cancelled. So minus is as it is. Minus is as it is. Wji at a particular point. When k becomes I, it will become sj sk. So I'll write sj only here. So minus ai xi from this one term minus ii. So this is nothing but minus xi dot. So effectively what we say, E dot is nothing but rho by dou. E dot is nothing but summation I is equal to 1 to n xi dot si dot. So what is the whole idea is, the inverse of the function E should be less than 0. Therefore, the network will surely find a point which is a local minimum. If a network cannot find a local minimum, you will not have any memory in the system. That is totally against the basic principle we chose. A Lyapunov surface should have many minimums and many maximums, and a network should point out to various minimums. Those various minimums are considered as a weight vector, which are formed as a associative memory. That is the whole idea. So we are proving that the entire network will settle down to a value such that network is going to converge. So yes, the system is having associative memory. That is the total idea of all these things. Are you able to follow this one? Now, what are the applications of this half-field network? Where do you use this network? See here, a pattern completion. What is the meaning of a pattern completion? Okay, a pattern completion is, let us say some pattern is already given to you, a half part of the pattern is given. How do you able to complete that pattern? So remaining the points are given to you. For example, an aeroplane, let us say some aeroplane is made up of, let us say 100 dots. All the 100 dots are given, but that's scattered. So what you have to do is, you have to bring the scattered dots into particular fashion so that you are able to complete the pattern. Are able to know the previous the children's game? They'll be given a set of this one, some rubber this one, so that they will join them and to make various shapes. For example, ship or tank or something plane, whichever shape they want to make. So they will learn how to join those shapes to make a particular pattern. That's what this is actually, this system is also going to do. Okay, so consider, let us say, an example of aeroplane or tank or helicopter. So this model we want to build. Okay, each particular picture is made into 12 cross 12 pixel grid. Okay, so one particular picture is taken as 12 cross 12 pixel grid, and what happens? Totally, it will become 144 bipolar vector. So why bipolar is each white point is represented by +1, each dark point is represented by -1. So these vectors are encoded into 144 dimensional half-field network. So there are 144 dots. 144 dots are encoded into half-field network. So network learns actually how the dots are present in your aeroplane. Then what happens? Let us say when these network so dots are scattered, then if they are given to the network will understand the network will start at a particular point, which is the beginning of the aeroplane. Remember one thing, all the points should not be scattered. The beginning points must be very near to the place where they were already present. If you totally scatter the pattern, this network cannot solve it. So there is a limitation. So about up to certain point only network will be able to solve the problem. So initially what we do, initial points of the aeroplane will be very similar to that one. Then what we do, that network initially understands, yes, these are the starting points of the aeroplane. Then the remaining points, whatever it has done, it will try to fetch those points and try to join it at one particular point. After so many 100 or 200 iterations, it is going to find the pattern of the aeroplane. Okay, that is what is the idea. But only one thing is, you're trained for aeroplane means it will look for the pattern aeroplane only. You should not give the pattern of ship. That it cannot do. So for each one, you have to train the neural network to get a particular pattern. Okay, for each pattern you train means, so the network will be able to understand, and if the pattern is scattered, it is able to complete the pattern. That is the whole idea behind this half-field network. Any doubt? Yeah. Any doubt? Huh? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So idea pattern completion is one of the very important thing. Let us say, can you tell me where this will be really useful? Apart from what?
Face recognition.
Face recognition. So let us say if we give a rough sketch of a person. Okay, suppose I want to know how the person looks like in a crime site. Let us say somebody has told the information to me, so I'll make a rough sketch. So by using this network, what I can do is how the person may look like, that can be plotted by using this half-field network. Okay, so some points on the face is given. Depending on the description, it will be able to complete the facial structure. Many times you would have seen in the police inquiry, they'll give a pattern how the person looks like. Okay, so that is generated by this sort of networks. Okay, either by drawing or by mathematical computation. This is one. Next one application is three-dimensional object recognition. So three-dimensional object recognition means, so what actually should do, we will train a neural network with a particular type of an object. One object, any object you consider. Those objects, if it is in the another side, suppose it is facing in the front, it can understand. Suppose it is facing in the opposite side, or so if I tilt the object in another side, can you able to recognize that object? But for human beings, it is quite easy. But for machine, it will become very difficult. Therefore, we need to train the neural network so that a three-dimensional object, if it is rotated in any other direction or upside down or particular angle, then are you able to recognize that object? That is done by these sorts of network. Okay, so how actually you'll be able to do? Okay, so it will actually, what you do, it employs a database of object models which comprise of two-dimensional projections of three-dimensional objects viewed from different angles. See here, what we do, a three-dimensional object is taken, we take the pictures of the object from various angles. So front view, back view, side view, top view, bottom view, some like this. So many angles you are going to take the picture. So what is a picture? Picture is a two-dimensional thing. So these two-dimensional values are fed into the network. Therefore, network understand how this object looks from different angles. Once you know that the object is looking from looks different in different angle, you will be able to understand if the object is rotated. It will try to match it considers a particular shape, and let us say front view, and it will try to match with one of them. If the matching is successful, then it will tell, yes, this object belongs to this category. Otherwise, it will say this will not belongs to this category. Okay, this is the whole idea behind the recognition of a 3D object. So let us look at actually how actually we are going to do this one. There are two major ways of doing this. In the first step, coarse recognition is done. So one simple analogy is, let us take a picture of, let us say, aeroplane, a three-dimensional object picture I will given you. So first two-dimensional, many photographs of aeroplanes are fed into the network. The network understands this one. Next, suppose I gave another picture. Okay, so the aeroplane is in the front, let us say it is in the back view. Now what the network should do? So network first should understand it is an aeroplane. Then only it can do the rest of the things. So beginning, network tries to get what is this object, because a network need not have to be trained for only one object. You may design the network, recognize aeroplane, a ship, let us say for a human being or an animal, like this. So network should have a rough idea what I'm going to recognize. So beginning coarse recognition is done. Once the coarse recognition is done, then a fine graded recognition is performed, so that the based on the matching of these photographs, yes, this object is perfectly like this only. So it is a two-stage recognition. Okay, so how we are going to do? Let us say we'll take one object. This is your object, what I am taking you here. So I'm made into many things. Let us say 1, 2, 3, 4. Each edge of them, each particular side of the object is given a particular value. See here, 1, 2, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like this, each particular part of the object is given a particular name. Next, what I will do, I will rotate this object. This object is rotated in this direction. See here, 1 is coming into here. Okay, 2 is here. Earlier 2 was here. Now 2 has come here. Next 3, whichever was upside. Now 3 is like this. 4 is like this. So the object completely looks different in this one. So what I will do, I will give each of them. Let us say this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so one dimension less you have to consider while you match the patterns. Okay, left hand side dimension should be one more than the right hand side dimension. Like this, I have to label the points. Okay, so once you make the dimension here, how actually you are going to train the network. Now, whether zeroth value of this one, let us say some point, let us say 2 only take, whether 2 value of this one will match with 0 value of this one. Whether, look at this point, whether 2 and 0 will be similar or non-similar. Any of you? Huh. Whether the 2 shape whatever I'm showing is similar to the shape 0 whatever I'm showing or not. Yeah, participate in this discussion.
Similar.
See here, this is 2 vertically downwards, this is horizontal, therefore they are not similar. But 0 of this pattern is very similar to 0 of this pattern. Okay, what effectively I'm telling is whether this one will exactly map with this one or not. If 0 maps with 0, this is given a dot, that is 1. If 0 matches with 2, then that is given as 1. If 0 matches with 3, no, it doesn't match with 3. That point is 0. Okay? Are you able to follow? Are any doubt you have? So, what is the whole idea in this picture is, I am considering a particular point 0. So, whether this 0 will match with a remaining point, I'm sorry, whether this 0 will match with the remaining points. If it matches perfectly, then 1 is given. If it I'm sorry. If it does not match, 0 will be given. So 0 matches with 0, it is 1. 0 doesn't match with 1, 0. 0 matches with 2, it is 1. 0 doesn't match with 3, it is 0. Like this, you will be given the values.
Font size, sir.
Huh? Yeah,
Enter
tell.
font size.
See here. Huh. Let us take 1. Whether 1 will match with 0?
Uh,
Whether this 1, the area will match with 0? No.
no, sir.
1 will match with 3? This is 3. Once again, this is 3 and this is 1. 1 and 3 will not match. Similarly, 1 with 1. This is 1 and this is 1. 1 and 1 are closely matching. It will become 1. So if let us say this 1 matches with 6 also, then for 6 it will be given 1. So objects which are matching similarly, they're almost similar, or be given the values of +1. If they don't match, that will be given as 0. That is how we are going to build this matrix. The matrix will be either comprised of 0 or +1, or sometimes they will encode it as -1 and +1. All matchings are +1, or non-matchings are 0. Okay, that is how I'm going to find the values in this one, whichever I'm matching the values. So this is for only one rotation. If you rotate it in another manner, then once again you have to encode. Like this, a 3D object is rotated in various ways and the matrix is built into the network. Are you able to follow this one? Okay. Any doubt here? Any doubt? Huh. Monisha, yeah, tell.
No,
Any doubt? Huh. Basic idea.
No, sir.
Basic idea is to build many matrices by keeping one model constant and rotating the another way. So the similarity between this and this and this and B and this will be in terms of matrix. Your neural network will be trained with this matrix. Moment when you rotate and present the neural network, it will combine, it will take the values of this one, it will compare with the previously given values with the neural network. If the values generate maximum, all of them are very similar to this one, then it will generate +1, indicating that this model and this model are same. If these values do not are very near to the same as this values, whatever is given in the matrix, then we'll say -1, this object and these objects are different. That is how an object which is rotated in the 3 dimension is recognized by using neural network. Okay, so you have to train the neural network. If you simply rotate the object, the network is not going to recognize only. You have to rotate the 3-dimensional object in different directions and find the matrix according to this one and feed the neural network with this matrix. So if you train it 10 times, 10 different such matrices will be found. Those matrices are used to train the neural network. So if one of those 10 patterns are given, then the network is going to recognize, yes, this object belongs to this one. Like this, you have to train the neural network. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, tell.
how will it assign values for each surface?
See here. So I have assigned 0 to 7 or 8 or something like that. So you can start from one particular value. Okay, let us say from the top you can start from 0 or you can start from bottom. Okay, wherever there are edges, okay, the value should change. So if there is this is one separate part and this is one separate part, you should not assign same values to both of them. You should assign different values. Where you can make separate surfaces. Each surface you assign a particular value. Are you able to follow? Okay, each surface you have to assign a separate value. Like this, if there are 10 surfaces, 10 different values are going to come.
We only have to assign, sir.
Yes, surely you only have to assign. Once you assign those values, I will be writing along the vertical direction in one way. If I rotate those objects, then I will reassign the values. Okay, so if those values are only written in this format, see here, this 0 I written here and this 2 I written here, but 3, whichever was used to look like this one, now because of rotation 3 is looking like this. Same numbers only, you are not going to change the numbers, but instead of looking in the front, you are going to look in the other side, that's all. Now by knowing that one, how much similarity this second one has with the first one you are going to calculate. That's the total idea. So how much similar, that is given by the values of this matrix. Once you know the values of the matrix, you are going to train the neural network. Once you train, the neural network understand either the object is like this or the object is like this. Then any one of the pattern is given, it will be able to tell the object is belongs to class 1. But if you give some other object, then the network is not going to recognize. Or if you rotate this one, let us say in this format, let us say your object is rotated in this format, then also network will not be able to do it because it has no sufficient data. So if you want to, let us say if the object has 10 edges, you have to rotate it 10 times and build such 10 matrices. Those 10 matrices must be trained for the neural network. Once you do it, then only network will be able to tell any one of the pattern is given, it is the rotated pattern. That is how a 3D object is recognized. Okay, that is the whole basis actually. It looks very simple for the human beings. Okay, let us say if you are in the front, or if you, let us say, turn that side, we will be able to easily recognize you. But this is not the case with neural networks. You have to train them completely. Whether, let us say, a person is rotating right side or left side or sitting, standing, all those things you have to train. Then only it will be able to recognize the person. Understood? Okay, that's whatever I explained are written here in architecture of the network. So this one basically involves the equation E, the total object, each row and each column. You are going to build the equation by using this one. Okay, 1 minus SIK for the rows as well as 1 minus SIK for the column is taken, and then you are going to find the input total value E. So once you do this one, okay, I'm going to find, I'm going to train the neural network. Once I'm going to train the neural networks, I'm going to design the weight vector. So weight vectors are designed depends on how much each value of row is similar to the another value on the column. So the weight vectors reflect relative importance of the individual term. And one thing here in this equation actually, DMKML is the distance between centroids of the kth and lth polygon in the object model. See here, what I effectively mean is, so if I do this one, so what, suppose 0 and 5, 0 and 5, let us say 1, okay, 0 and 4, let us say 0. So what is the distance between fourth and third one? Okay, that is evaluated. What is the distance between fifth and fourth? What is the distance between sixth and fifth are evaluated. So those evaluations are carried and stored this one. So similarity values are stored here and the distance values are stored separately. So when the distance values are tallied according to this equation, whatever I'm giving you here, according to this equation, then by completion, the least distance vector is taken to recognize whether these two objects are similar or otherwise. Okay, that is the whole idea behind this half-field network. Okay. Okay. Any doubt? The neurons inside the half-field network are basically governed by your exponential functions. Okay, so these exponential functions which are there in all the neurons will be used in order to calculate the distance between successive points, and hence you are going to determine whether the objects are similar. That's the total idea. You write the total idea you write in the implementation. Okay. See here, I told each region of the input image corresponds to a row and each column of the network corresponds to a region in the model. Okay, so initial conditions are set up and then a matrix, once you train the matrix, you will get ones and zeros. It will tell how similar 1 and 4 and 1 and 5 are. Then what we'll do, we'll keep changing the matrix by rotating the image. So to train the neural network. Once you train at one particular point, you reach the saturation, then we'll stop and we understand that network has trained completely. Then it will be able to recognize the model. Okay, this is the whole idea behind the recognizing a three-dimensional object. Okay, so I'll stop here. Any doubt you have?
No, sir.